going on, guys? The Halloween Hunters here, and today we are starting the wet sand on old Lucille here because we're gonna try some clear coat. The estimates for the clear coat have not come in, and so we're gonna try to clear it ourselves. You can kind of see how nice it's gonna look when it's done. Look at all that flake, and all that flake has been hidden by dirt and grime. So I bought a can of Diamond Clear. I've seen good reviews, and we're gonna see. Man, it looks better in person than it does on camera, but look at all that flake. So this was a custom-made mix I had done for this car. Shot the car in 2 gallons, and it did take 2 gallons. The coat is very thin. I messed up right here wet sanding, and I got a little nick right there. So I'm gonna have to touch that up. You definitely want to stay away from the edges, especially sharp edges like this when you're doing wet sanding or any sanding. You stay away from the edges. Now there's some imperfections. There's a little chip, a couple chips up here, and that's just from driving the car because I painted this a couple years ago. There's a chip there. So we're gonna fix those chips with a little bit of touch-up paint. But this fender is done. It is fully wet sanded. I just keep wetting it, cleaning it a little bit, but just so you can see the flake, see how nice it's gonna look when we're done. We are sanding it with a little bit of just a dot of soap and water with some 3N 1000 grit. So I've never done this before, so this is kind of an experiment. This whole car has been a learning process. So I folded it in half, and I was doing, not giving too much pressure because this paint is on there very thin. It was a very thin paint. So I don't want to go crazy, but the clear coat, I ordered 1 can to see how it's gonna look, and look at that, that's pretty nice. And this fender is super smooth now. I just did the whole fender. We're gonna do it a panel at a time, just to see how it goes. Like I said, it's gonna be a learning process. So what I did was I washed the fender really well first, then wet sanded the whole thing, trying to stay away from the edges, the sharp points. Sanded the whole thing down with 1000 grit, while squeezing water with one hand, sanding with the other hand, not doing swirls, going straight, and cross hatching is apparently what I've seen online and what my friends have told me. You don't want to do swirls when wet sanding paint. You want to do straight and cross hatch. So the whole thing is done very smooth compared to this gritty nastiness. When I did paint this car the first time, or the only time I painted it, I did shoot a little bit of spray paint clear, like, I don't know, 10-15 cans on the whole car, but I only did like 1 coat real quick, and that's why it was never shiny. It was been very matte, very dull. So the clear coat comes in the morning. 1 can was $30, so this stuff's kind of expensive. I was gonna buy the gallon and shoot it with the spray gun, but we wanted to try this one and see how it goes. I think I can get 2 panels per spray can, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna do about 3-4 coats of clear. Let's see how that goes. But it's gonna look so nice, hopefully. I wanted to have it professionally sprayed, so what I was gonna do was wet sand it myself and then take it to a place to get cleared. But all the shops I've been calling have been like too busy to do it, and they all say, oh, we'll get back to you with an estimate, and they never do. So I'm just gonna try it myself because, you know, I want to practice and see how this goes. There's a couple little scratches in the paint, but I'm not too worried. And then we're gonna touch up all the little dings like this with just the paintbrush and just a little dab of paint, just like a little dab just to cover it, and then let it dry, sand over it, and then clear it. 3 coats, 1 coat every 10 minutes ish, and hopefully it comes out really nice. 3 or 4 coats, and if it comes out nice, then I'll be happy. And then we'll have to do the rest of the car. The hood's gonna probably take 2 cans. It's a pretty big hood. Each panel should take a can or less, other than the hood. And there's a lot of touch up I have to do on that back corner. It's pretty bad. So, alrighty. So, man, hard to see. So I dabbed just a little bit of paint on all those little spots, right? I dabbed it on a little bit thick so it has a chance to kind of melt down. And then we're gonna sand it tomorrow. So all the little chips, a little bit right there. Mainly right here is where there was a few. So, and then that was where I messed up. So tomorrow, what we're gonna do is very, very carefully, when this is dry tomorrow, after a full night, very, very carefully, with like 1000 grit, is clean up the little bumps. You can see how bad this paint is. The paint gun I used was horrible. So man, we're probably gonna see all that through the paint, or through the clear, but whatever. This is the first car I ever painted with nice paint. And honestly, it's worse than some cars I painted with cheaper paint, but this is how you learn, right? You learn by doing. So it's nice and smooth. You can see it's got some dullness to it. That means it's all sanded and smooth and ready for our clear coat, which hopefully comes in the mail tomorrow, so we can give it a try. All right, it is time for the clear. Car is masked off. Floor is a little wet. You want to wet the floor so that dust doesn't come up when you spray. Sometimes you spray, that air will kick up some dust in your paint, so wet the floor a little bit. This is what we're gonna try. It's on Amazon. KBS coating, tough and durable, diamond clear. Yeah, we're gonna see how this does. This is the clear gloss. They also make a satin clear, but we want it to be as glossy as possible. So that's what we're gonna try. We just bought 1 can. It was like 30 bucks a can. So I wanna try 1 can first before I buy like a whole gallon and shoot it, or before I buy a ton of cans and shoot it. I don't know what we're gonna do yet. But the surface is ready. All my little spots of touch up are done. Like I said, remember that corner. So just dabbed a little paint in it, sanded it out. So it's not perfect, but we're gonna give this a try in a couple minutes here and hope that it looks good. It looks so good when you put it, when you put water on it, and like usually that's how it looks if you clear it. So we're gonna hope for the best. It's as ready as it can be. I did take the chrome off right there, and it's ready to go. So gonna get my respirator, some rubber gloves, and some eye goggle protection, maybe even some long sleeves so it doesn't get a bunch of overspray on my arms. And we're gonna shoot this. We're gonna do 1 lighter coat first, wait about 5-10 minutes. Then we're gonna shoot a little bit heavier coat on the second one, wait about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna do a 3rd coat and lay that one. They say to lay that one a little bit wetter. I'm gonna try to do that without getting any runs. I don't want to wet sand any of the paint drip out. So I'm a little nervous because they say that you want to shoot clear a little closer to the body, because if you're a little further away, it'll dry before it touches the paint basically, and then you'll get a dusty clear coat, and we don't want dusty, we want gloss. So they say to get closer, probably about 4 inches away from the panel, and we're gonna do a bunch of this real quick, lefts and rights like that across the whole panel. It's gonna look a little spotty at first. You don't want to just fully coat the whole thing in one shot, so we're gonna kind of dust it on. Second coat will look better, third coat will look the best, and possibly a fourth coat. We'll see how it looks after the third coat, and hopefully it looks really good. If this comes out nice, then we'll do the rest of the car in time. Probably won't have time until 2025 to clear the rest of the car, but this is going to be a good test to see how this comes out. All right, guys, so if after a few coats, this is what we got. If you look at here, this came out really nice. You can see my reflection pretty clear. And then as we move down, it gets worse. Not very clear, fuzzy. And I don't really know why. This came out pretty nice. This has been drying for about 15 minutes. I think it's because of how many coats. That has a lot of coats, and this only has like 2 coats. And I've heard things about clear coat where if you put too much clear coat, it doesn't get glossier, it starts to get foggier. So I don't know. I'm gonna let this dry for a while and then wait for my homies to show up. We'll talk about it. Maybe I'll shoot some more clear over here. We'll unmask it, we'll pull it out into the sun to see the clear a little better. And then we might have to do like a wet sand and polish on this and see if that makes it nicer. So I don't know, do I go just less coats? Was that the problem? Or was it the prep in that area was better? I don't know, it's my first time doing clear on a paint job, so just doing what I can, learning what I can. YouTube has like nothing on this brand of clear, so it's kind of tough. Even this side came out pretty good. No light on this side, but I don't know. The paint gun we used when we shot the paint was horrible, so that's why the paint actually looks bad and splotchy, because the paint gun was trash. But we're trying to make it as nice as we can with what we got, especially because this paint was like $2,000. Not $2,000, about $1,000 in paint. So if we can make it as nice as we can and get a little bit of shine out of it, get a little bit of color, and I'll be happy with it. All right, guys, so here it is. I moved it around so the sun could hit it, and it actually looks pretty nice. The only thing that I messed up on is I got mad that this was kind of dull, so I threw a whole bunch of paint, more clear right here, and you could see the difference. You could see where they mix. So I probably shouldn't have done that, but overall, not too bad. I definitely want to let it fully dry, let it cure, do a light sand and buff on it, and I think it'll come out really nice. This area came out beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. And this is what a spray can. Yeah, that is really nice. Obviously the paint's not perfect, so that kind of sucks, but whatever, man. We're just doing the best we can in the backyard, But this is nice. This part is dried now for probably an hour. And then I hit that other part. That's probably about 30 minutes of dry time. You can see some of my deep scratches that are in the paint here, or in the body. So that's whatever. Bottom doesn't look as clear. but overall pretty nice. If we look at it from the opposite side, like the darker side of, you know, reverse of the sun hitting it, it doesn't look great. It looks a little spotty. That's why I want to kind of do a buff and wet sand. But if you look at it from the sun side angle where the sun's hitting it, it looks pretty damn good. So probably tomorrow. I'm a little nervous to do a sand and buff. Maybe I'll just do a buff only. I don't know. Learning process. Remember, we gotta learn. I think I learned how to use the paint after I was basically done. I think the key is you actually want to put it on pretty thick. Because when I shot this area, which looks perfect, I just went fast with a lot of paint, pretty close. Just did like 1 pass, 2 pass, 3 pass, no drips or nothing. And this came out the best. This is the way I did it, how people said to do it online, and it looks dull. So I think the faster the better. But yeah, that looks really nice. We have to do the whole rest of the car now. But I think I'm gonna buy just a gallon and shoot it with the paint gun, because the spray cans are expensive. The gallon's expensive too, but it'll be easier and it'll probably blend better. This fact that I can see where it ended because of what I did in the middle, I don't like that. But hopefully it dries. Actually, it already looks like it's kind of dried on this side. I don't see it as much anymore because it was right about here. So maybe it'll blend itself once that dries fully. But not too bad. A lot better than that. You can see the difference there. So a lot more work to do. All right, guys, it is the next day and it's a little warm, but I just finished doing a wet sand and a buff on this clear, and it is looking pretty nice. I was able to blend that mark that you saw yesterday where I painted this part and not this part, and it dried different. Now you can't see that, so now it's just one solid shiny fender. Look at that, man, that's crazy. It looks so good now, so freaking good. A little mark there that'll come out. There you go. It's kind of hard to do this when it's hot because sometimes your compound dries really fast, so I was doing small sections. So I'm going to tell you how I did it to get it this beautiful shine. So it looks pretty good on the camera. It looks like you could see a couple scratches, but with my eyes, I don't really see any scratches. I see paint imperfections, but overall really nice. So this paint is pretty much exactly what I wanted now. See, what I wanted was a paint that looks gloss black from the majority of the directions you're looking at, but then when the sun hits it, you get all that sparkle and glitter and that gold. So here's what I did. We sanded the paint down with 1000 grit. I'm gonna tell you the whole process real quick. I sanded this whole fender, the paint. Actually, I'll start from the very, very beginning when we painted it, so you guys know every step. Step 1 was sand the original paint down, not all the way to metal, just scuffing it up with about 220 grit. Then I primed it, and then I hit that with about a 400 grit, maybe 300-ish. Then I painted the car. After it was painted, we wet sanded the paint with 1000 grit using a little bit of soap, a dot of soap in your water, spray bottle, 1000 grit, the paint. That'll dull the paint, but it'll prep it for the clear. So after it's prepped for clear, you're gonna clean it. You're gonna shoot your clear coat. 2, 3, 4 coats, however many you decide. It's kind of tough with spray paint cans, but get as many coats on there. You want it, you know, a little thick, but not crazy. Then once it's cleared, you let it cure, let it dry for however long it takes, a day, 2 days, whatever. Then you go to your color sand, I think is what it's called. I went with a 2000 grit and just kind of went over all this area with a wet sand of 2000. Then I did a wet sand with 3000 grit. Although I don't know if it's really necessary to go to 3000. I think you could buff after 2000, but I decided to just do one quick wet sand with 3. Then I got the ultra fine pad, and maybe I should have went with a medium pad first and worked my way, but I went with the ultra fine pad and the fine cut cleaner, and did the whole thing. Actually, I still need to do the bottom there, but that is what I did to get this beautiful shiny panel here. It looks really good. I hope the camera's doing it justice, but it looks freaking sick. It looks like a real car now, because I don't know what this is. This is disgusting. It takes a lot of work to go from this to this, but this whole, oh man, it's so smooth now. You don't feel any of that like orange peel that we were feeling before. A little bit over here, but that's from the paint. But man, it feels so good. It's like so glass smooth. And that is how we got this beautiful panel here. Our next problem is we have to do the whole car. That's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a long job. And I might just do it how we did this, one panel at a time. Just because I don't have a lot of time to spend a whole, week or whatever. It's gonna take a long time to wet sand this whole car down, to mask it off and all that. So I think I'm gonna do one panel at a time until it gets all done. So I'll probably just start on this side. I'll keep going. So we'll do the front door next, then that door. I'm gonna do the bottom and there. I really want to do the back door though, because the back door always looked the best. I think the paint came out the best on the back door. It laid the smoothest on the back door, and it was shiny. Oh man, I got another chip there. It was already pretty shiny without the clear. So I think the back door is going to end up looking really nice when it's done. But man, it's a lot of work, but it looks really good. So I'm going to put that piece of chrome trim back on, I think. Let's take this off so you can kind of see how nice it looks. The white wall. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. Probably a little bit long. Probably didn't show you as much as I should, but damn, this panel looks good. Gloss black, and it's got the gold flake. It's exactly what I wanted now. Wasn't what I wanted when I was like that, but now that we've been putting a lot of work into it, it looks really good. I'm really happy with it. Can't wait till the whole car looks that good. It's gonna be a lot of work. So we'll catch you guys in the next one. Happy Halloween.